I'm Mike from Eve's Coffee Roasters, and I'm going to explain to you what a brew ratio is, how it impacts espresso, and how you can use a brew ratio to improve your coffee. What is a brew ratio? A brew ratio is a ratio formula that calculates the weight of the ground coffee in the portafilter basket in comparison to the weight of liquid espresso in the cup. An example of a very common brew ratio is the brew ratio 1 to 2. In our example of the brew ratio 1 to 2, so the 1 in the formula relates to the ground coffee in the portafilter basket, and the 2 in the formula relates to the liquid espresso in the cup. Now let's apply this ratio to a scenario here of using 18 grams of ground coffee in the portafilter basket and extracting 36 grams of liquid espresso in the cup. This is because in this brew ratio of 1 to 2, there is 2 grams of liquid espresso being extracted for every 1 gram of ground coffee in the portafilter basket. Easy, right? So if we change this brew ratio to 1 to 2.5, this means that for every 18 grams of ground coffee, we would be wanting to extract 2.5 times 18, equaling 45 grams of liquid espresso in the cup. How does brew ratio impact espresso? Brew ratio is an important factor that determines the strength and flavor of coffee. Shorter the brew ratio will be more concentrated and more intense, where a longer brew ratio is more diluted. We used to measure coffee in milliliters with volume measurements on the side of a measuring jug. The brew ratio method is much more accurate, as the crema can have a deceiving impact on the volume or weight of the coffee. Even just a few grams can have a big impact on the strength and flavor of the coffee. How can you use the brew ratio method to make your coffee taste better? You can take full advantage of this method by using it as a variable to manipulate the flavor and strength of your coffee. Refer to your coffee roaster specifications on the espresso recipe and their brew ratio, as this is going to help you get the most out of the beans that you're using. As I mentioned earlier, a common general starting point of a brew ratio is 1 to 2, but this is just a guideline, and you can alter this and adjust it accordingly to get the flavor and strength that you're looking to achieve. And lastly, it's not all about brew ratio. Following a brew ratio is a great start to getting a good cup of coffee, but there are many other variables that have to be right, including the extraction time, water, temperature, how even your extraction is, and the list goes on. I hope that you now understand what a brew ratio is. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, get me in the comments below.